is because I want them to become my friends. I want them to be happy with the food, happy with the service, happy with the restaurant.
Oh yeah.
I want them to be pleased with everything about 100%.
Sure, and if for some reason they weren't happy, they know who they can reach. It's
Exactly.
a friend or a family member. There's somebody. I mean, ultimately, as a lot of folks come in as a customer and leave as a family member. I mean, so many of your diners have been here forever.
And going back to what we were talking about before, some of the changes we made, I basically took charge of the kitchen a few years back, and I decided to let my wife take charge of the dining room, which that means she knows most of my customers that comes in.
Yeah.
A lot of she knows by name, a lot of she knows their birthday, anniversary,
Sure.
and so it makes a good relationship for both me and her. Being in the restaurant, constantly being in the restaurant.
Yes.
But I also try to walk out in the dining room whenever I get a moment. I always tell my customer, if I have a few minutes to come out of the kitchen, I come out in the dining room and say hello to everybody, making sure everything is doing good. But if I'm busy, I'm stuck in the kitchen because that's where my place is.
Oh yeah.
And they're happy to see the kind of a closeness between them and myself and my wife.
Yes, Rinaldo, it is incredible. You know, as you think back to those early years, growing up under a mother who was a tremendous chef, who trained all 7 of her children to actively get active in the kitchen. Was this something that you thought about at an early age? Did you yearn to want to be an executive chef, to own your own restaurant?
No, definitely not. I mean, when you are young, you always have other dreams and other goals and so on. But when I was actually young, I want to be an airline pilot, or
Really?
or a pilot of any kind.
Okay,
Doesn't make
sure.
Didn't make a difference what it was. I want to fly.
Was your father a pilot?
No.
Okay, yeah.
And then after that, as I started growing up, then I wanted to become an engineer, electronic engineer or electric engineer. And I did take some. Not classes, but I went a few years to do that, but that still was not my goal. And then, of course, I immigrated to the United States when I was 18, and then my goals started to change at that point in time. I started working in restaurants, and between working in restaurants under my mother, really wonderful hands and palate, a lot of things has changed in my goal at that point in time. And that's when I actually started looking into the restaurant itself and start managing or running my own restaurant at that point.
Your first restaurant, I believe, was in West Virginia.
It was in West Virginia. That was back in 1978. I was young, but I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
It was a very small town in West Virginia, the size of about 25, maybe 3,000 people. But I had a great support from them. They really they helped me out, move on to the point where I am today, and. I gotta give a lot of thanks to them for starting me out back then. But there was a lot of things we were doing different back then. We were doing pasta by hand, kneading it by hand. We're doing, since then I made it better. Sure. I still make my own pasta, but I made it simplified from what it used to be by hand to what we're doing it now.
You can do it a little more en masse. Because you serve such a larger audience.
Exactly.
It would be difficult. You still do it right here in the restaurant.
Yep, we're still doing it pretty much everything the way it was done 26 years ago. It'll be 26 in about 2 weeks. We're still doing our bread by hand. We're still kneading it by hand. We're still doing our pasta. We're still doing our dressing. We're doing our breadcrumbs. We still grind our own meat on premises. So we do a lot of the things the way it used to be.
Right.
In 26 years ago, and the way it was done prior that time by my mother.
Of course, this is not a commercial. I'm not promoting Villa Romana in any other way than to let folks know that they will get a big meal, no matter what they're getting when they come in. But that soup, the stracciatella, the side salad, the bread that's at the table, the side pasta with non-pasta dishes.
Yes.
I mean, every single dinner here is a feast.
Exactly, and it's pretty much all done, prepared as we need it, even including the pasta. We can actually, we're able to cook our pasta as we need it, so it's not pre-cooked during the day for the evening, but we actually do it by order, just about, even though it's a very small side orders. But Going back to the stracciatella, a lot of my customers think it's a wedding soup, but it's not.
I thought it was an Italian wedding soup.
Well, it's a little different between a wedding soup and stracciatella. Stracciatella is actually a Roman way of doing the wedding soup, and it's only served during a Roman wedding.
Okay.
So if you go to Naples or you go to Florence, you will find a different style of a wedding soup. So
are they all called stracciatella?
No, only the Roman, wedding soup is called stracciatella.
That's good to know. Yeah.
So it's a little different from the others, and we put our own name for it.
Yes.
So it's not to be confused with a wedding soup, because it's not. It's a stracciatella. We also serve bruschetta, tomato bruschetta with our dinners.
Yes.
We serve dipping sauce, where you can take our fresh bread, which we do bake our bread. Basically, I have one person, one of my chefs in the kitchen, one of my assistants in the kitchen that bakes bread all night long. So you can come in at 4:30, you come in at 8 o'clock, you still get bread that was practically cooked within less 10-15 minutes.
Wow.
And it was cooked from scratch. It was pre-baked and finished cooked at the last few minutes. So it was. You can dip your bread in your dipping sauce, and then of course you get your salad, and we still make our own dressing for that. And then you get your main entree, which could be the pasta or any of the other specialty dinners that we have.
You've got incredible, I think there was a point where specialties, folks are probably all leaning towards those and not going towards the traditional traditional items on the menu, albeit everything's a
Exactly.
specialty.
And I have some customers that come in once a year and they say, we've been engraving these dishes for 12 months. And we don't want to look at the menu, because we don't want to look at what you got. Is there anything new on the menu? We just want this dish that we had last year. And that is wonderful that they grave that. And of course, I'm always trying to introduce that to new dishes I make in the restaurant. And I have customers, we cater to many needs. We have customers that are they cannot have onions or garlic. I mean, you go into an Italian restaurant, you cannot have garlic. It's like, why do they even bother come in? Yeah. But we do go our way. We do make things as we need it, in case we do need it. Right. My mother, for the last 2 years of her life, she was on low salt diet. So I was doing all the cooking for her without no salt. Wow. So I have customers that they do come in and say, we are on low salt diet. So I do go out and make low salt dishes for them. I have customers with high gluten or gluten tolerance or peanut oil tolerance. Yes. So we make sure, of course you don't have no peanut oil on premises. We got away from that about 8-9 years ago. But gluten, being in an Italian restaurant, is very tough to do things without gluten. But the only thing I always ask my customer, if they're gluten tolerance, to just bring crackers. You can buy gluten-free crackers, and everything else I can actually do in the kitchen without any gluten.
Rinaldo, there's so many more questions I want to ask, particularly highlighting what all has changed in the restaurant in the last almost 26 years since you opened to today. But we have run out of time, so we're going to have to get you back another time. We're excited to be here all week. Thank you for opening the doors, coming over each morning here at 6 o'clock to let us in so we can start filming at 7.
Not a problem. That was great for you to be here.
It meant a lot to be here. Thank you so much.
And Happy New Year.
Stay tuned to a little more of All American People with Rinaldo Montrosse here at Villa Romana Italian Restaurant, coming up next. Even though Mama Lucia left us right before Mother's Day in 2005, every day is Mother's Day at Villa Romana. Her spirit is still here at Villa Romana, makes a difference. She passed it on to her son, Rinaldo. She passed it on to all 7 of her children. The love of using a kitchen and using the ingredients of kitchen to help fill someone else's life, to help fill their stomach and to fill them throughout the restaurant. You heard Rinaldo talking about he's in the back, his wife's out here in the front of the house, in the front of the restaurant. He's coming out all the time because of Mama Lucia's spirit. She passed it on to Rinaldo. She's passed it on to so many. If you haven't been in since Mama Lucia left us, please come in anyway. Come back to Villa Romana. You'll still feel her spirit here every day. Villa Romana Italian Restaurant. Rinaldo, thanks so much for letting us in.
Oh,
absolutely.
Thank you.